Hello and welcome to episode 74 of the Alfa Romeo Driver Podcast, brought to you by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. I'm Guy Swarbrick, and with me this week I have the club's 159 Registrar Jim Rastall. Good afternoon, Jim.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good stuff.
So we're talking to you this afternoon about your role as the 159 Registrar, and we'll get on to that later on. I know there'd been a bit of a gap, but you had quite big shoes to follow, because I think Chris had done a pretty good job as the 159 Registrar, so we'll come back to that later. But as we always do with these conversations, I just wanted to get a little insight into how you got interested in Alfas or Italian cars in the first place. So where did the journey begin?
I've always been interested in cars. Even as a child, I think I had that childhood thing of model cars all over the place, that kind of thing. It started off with Vauxhalls. My first cars are Vauxhalls, Corsas, Novas, Astras, the usual. And then one day I saw a little 145 Junior in red at a local car dealer. And I had a quick look round. It caught my eye. I thought, it's quite a nice little hatchback. So I went for it. And since then, I haven't been fully committed to Alfas, but I'm on my sixth one now. So
that's not bad going.
Yeah, we're there. Yeah, we're getting there.
So the 145 was kind of an interesting time for Alfa, because it was kind of on paper they'd solved a lot of the reliability and corrosion problems, but under the surface it wasn't always quite as.
No.
How did the 145 fare?
It was lovely, to be honest. I loved it. It was my ex-wife that made me say it.
That's not the reason why she's your ex-wife, is it?
Well, no, a little bit. No. Yeah, it was a lovely little car, to be honest. Lovely little runabout. It was perfect. I didn't touch wood. I didn't have any problems with it. It was, wish I kept it. It was that age-old thing that we get to a certain age. I wish I kept that one. I wish I kept that one. So, no, she was a little 1. Was she a 1.6? I think she was a 1.6. I can't quite remember. I think she was a little 1.6. So, yeah, she was lovely. Great little car.
And red or?
Yes, yeah.
Red or the wrong colour?
No, it was in the red. Yes, it was in the right colour. That's part of the thing that caught my eye. It was just across from the road from a newsagent I used, and it was just sat there looking at me. So she was mine, and that was the beginning of the Alfa journey. After that, 147 2-litre T-Spark followed not long after that, to be honest. I think there might have been a car in between, but that was a lovely car. That was, someone had spec'd that very well, and unfortunately that got written off by a articulated lorry on the way to Nottingham one day.
Ouch.
With me in it. Yes, it wasn't a good day. That wasn't good. But that had everything, and it was a lovely car, beautiful car to drive.
And that really was a step up for Alfa. I think my wife had a Punto Sporting. I finally persuaded her to buy her first Alfa, which was a 1.9 diesel 147.
Oh, yeah.
And she was just blown away by the difference in the interior and the kind of the quality and the fit of everything inside it compared to what she'd come from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a step above, I think, anything that we'd had before, if you know what I mean. The levels, the quality, it just felt brilliant. It wasn't great against an articulated lorry, but
no.
It kept me safe, bless it. So
I had a 147 GTA, which lost out to whatever it was, the biggest of the Jeeps, a Grand Cherokee, I think.
Oh, the Grand,
which turned across it.
Beautiful.
And took off the near side front corner.
I was in his near side blind spot, and he came from the outside lane into me and pinned me against his front bumper, which was quite harrowing at the time. But and it got dropped off, and that's the last we saw of it, I'm afraid, that one.
So that's two. What was next?
Next after that one was a 1.9 GT in Alfa Red, in the proper red. Alfas had got me by then, and I knew about Alfas then. So yeah, it came up for sale locally. Had a quick test drive. Thought, brilliant, love it, and the story went from there. I had it for a good few years. That little 1.9 turbo diesel, and
it's I was never a diesel fan, but I grew to love my wife's 147 and ended up with a 2.4 turbo diesel 156 sport wagon.
Oh,
but that 1.9 was a cracking little engine and really tunable.
Yeah, that's what I've actually got in I've just recently purchased a 159 sport wagon 2-3 weeks ago now, and that's got a 1.9. That's what I was in the GT. and that's what's in the sport wagon. So yeah, good little engines, to be honest. As long as you look out like anything, as long as they've been looked after and taken care of, yeah, they're good little engines, little hard-working little engine.
So if I've counted properly,
to 3,
I
4.
think, I was going to say the one between the current one and the GT must have been a 159.
It was a 159. It was my red one that did most of the shows last year. You might have seen it out and about. Yeah, bless it. That was a great. There'd been a bit of a gap between the GT and that 159, just because of things, life, that kind of thing. And a colleague I worked with at the time, he knew I'd liked Alfa. I'd shown him pictures of all my old Alfas, and he said, "Oh, I've got this red 159. It's beautiful. It's 2011 model. It's the Lusso spec, red leather interior. It's only got 60,000 miles on it. Been to Portugal. My wife doesn't like it anymore. Would you like it for £3,000? Yeah." Sold. Sold, yes. And that got me onto the 159s. And I say it's been gone 2 weeks now, so I'm still a bit sore. So, I've seen a picture on Facebook of the new owner who's washed it just this weekend gone. I was like, he's enjoying that way too much.
So what prompted the change?
The sport wagon. A friend of mine, who I haven't seen in a few years, he had I think it was a 2.4 four-wheel drive sport wagon, the Q4.
Yeah.
It would never sell me it. It's just sat, and it's a beautiful car. I'd already got the bug for Alphas, but it was a beautiful car. And my partner, we've got quite a big dog. We've got a boxer dog who couldn't really go in the saloon. So the sport wagon, I've been looking in and out, been dipping in and out the market for a while and looking at prices going up and down and everywhere. And one came up at Peterborough way. Bit over the money, but we went to have a look and, of course, immediately fell in love with it. It was a dark, wet night, and I should have spent another hour or two looking around it, as I found out when I went to pick it up again. Yes, the sport wagon thing. I've got nothing against the saloons, but I think there's just something that the look of the sport wagon in the TI spec. I think it just looks right.
Yeah, but I've had two 939 Spiders, which are sort of 159s.
Yeah,
but I had a 159 sport wagon with the 2-litre diesel engine in it.
Yeah,
and it was a cracking car.
Yeah, I had the 2-litre engine in the red one, the one before I had on this one, and that was the best engine. I was really umming and ahhing whether to get rid of it because it was a beautiful car, lovely engine, but. Yeah, I've gone back to a 159, which it needs a bit of TLC. It's going in for a little bit of paintwork this week. Someone's had a bit of a cheap paintwork done and rust's coming through here and there. And it's not been loved as it should have done. So I've got a project. I've got a project for this for the next year. My girlfriend's not too happy, but yes, we have a project now.
So that's the car history. How did you get involved in the club? You said you were doing lots of shows and things before you got involved with the Register.
I did. Well, no, I did shows. Yeah, I did shows with the red one for the past couple of years. I've been to only local town, anything that's, because I'm based in Lincoln, anything that was round here, I'd go down and have a look and just park up and have a look. I've been a member since I owned the GT, so I've been in the club quite a while, and this time I joined the Facebook group. Yeah, I'm not a big Facebook user. I use it for work, and that's about it. And I saw that they kept advertising for a registrar, and I thought, I mean, this is after Chris had obviously left the role. I thought, well, I can't see how difficult that could be. I'd like to be involved. I'd like to give it a go. I love my cars. I'd like to get involved. So I kind of got in touch, and away we went, really.
And it's been, 4 or 5 months, something like that?
No, it's coming up to a year, I think, now.
It's coming up to a year?
May last year, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's coming up to a year now, yeah.
So how big a gap was there between how hard can it be and what you actually ended up having to do?
Oh, 48 hours. All this leaflets kept turning through. No, it has been good, actually. It's been like I was told, take it as easy as you want or as hard as you want and go all in, or just take it in your own speed. Don't let it envelop what you do. So it's been a bit of that, because I am quite busy with work life and so personal life. So I've not done everything I wanted to do just yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's a difficult balance. I know Chris was probably, of all the modern registers, there's probably only David Faithful with the Mito who was more active than Chris was. So in some ways, that's a bad model, because that's not typical of how a modern register works. But there's definitely plenty to do.
Oh, yeah, especially with the group. I mean, the figures on, I know it doesn't reflect the club so much, but on the Facebook group, we've got over 4,000 members just to the 159, and just keeping on top of that, it's an almost an hourly job sometimes.
Yeah, and it's a worldwide group as well, isn't it? Effectively, although it's the UK clubs group, there's huge Eastern European following for the 159.
Huge. Yeah, and we try and be as welcoming. Obviously, we've got the rules and bits and bobs like that, but we try and be as welcoming and friendly and joining in with most of the conversations, that kind of thing. So I'd say if you are listening to this and you are a member of the group, just put a picture of your car up, say hello. I always choose random pictures for the group picture, that kind of thing. So yeah, just show us your 159 really.
Pictures with captions. So that's it.
Pictures with captions. We like pictures with captions.
And in joke, we had a section secretaries and registrars workshop just before Christmas, and I was beating the drum for people providing captions to go with their photos. What would you say were the two biggest achievements in terms of getting things back up and running? Because it'd been dormant for quite a while. As you said, there was a string of requests for somebody to come back in.
Yeah, getting the actual spreadsheet sorted out was a big because it was I think 2018 and I took over 2022, so 4 years there of people that have left, sold the cars, new people have joined, that kind of thing. And it is an ongoing process. It kind of changes every week, but to get it to a point where I know who we're talking to, I generally know who owns what car and who I can expect to see at the shows, that kind of thing. Other than that, I mean, David's Faithful's been a great help, to be honest. They already had some window stickers sorted out for me that Chris must have done, that kind of thing. So I haven't really had to do too much yet. I have got a newsletter up and coming that I've been working on. It's not the easiest thing to put together. Ask David about that. I'm nearly there with it. I do promise listeners that it's nearly there. It'll be with you soon, I promise.
You mentioned the database, the spreadsheet of members. Obviously, we've got the ability now for members to add their own car details onto their membership records on the membership database. And it then kind of brings up, there are different philosophies for what a register should be. And I think probably the majority of registrars effectively run a list of all of the members of the club who have their type of car. And then the second most common is trying to look at all the cars that are currently out there and who currently owns them, whether they're club members or not, which is a bit of an expanded scope. And then Steve Ball, almost uniquely, as well as editing the register section for the magazine, Steve's kind of made it his mission to have tracked down every 155 that ever set foot in the UK, even if it only came for a holiday once. So he will, find photographs with a 155 in the background and it's a registration number he's not seen before, and he'll add it to the register. And so if that's the continuum from members and their current cars through to everybody who's ever owned a 159, what's your kind of ambition for the register?
I can't say I'll track down every 159 because there's quite a few kicking about.
There were a lot more than there were 155s. They did make it easier for Steve.
The great thing with as you said, the website now, you can let people put their own details in. I think that'll be a great help as to tracking those members down who haven't quite, because I've put the word out on our e-magazine, the magazine, the actual physical magazine, Facebook, but you can always get those members that don't go on Facebook, don't read the email magazine, that kind of thing. So it's just trying to get people to, as I say, stick their hand up and say, yep, I've got a 159. I'm in the club. I've not really joined in with anything before. Please let me have a sticker. We can let them have a sticker. And then, stickers are always a good start.
Stickers are always a good place to start.
Yeah, and it's getting people to the shows. I think that's the main thing for me. I think when I started this, there wasn't much coverage for the 159 in the magazines, and there weren't really. They were at the back of the shows because there weren't many turning up. I was kind of proud at the National Alpha Day we had, because I think we had over about 16 159s lined up, which I thought, I know there's quite a few out there, but I thought that was and we did have them lined up as well. I was quite appreciative that I was able to do that. So it was good to get people there, and we got the little community together on the day. So,
and we've discussed this about various different models over the course of the podcast. But I think one of the realities of classic car ownership and the 159 will become a classic. It's an Alfa, so it will by definition. It tends to be the saloons and estates in the case of the 159 that tend to be the ones that dwindle quickest. People will hold on to their Breras, they'll hold on to their Spiders.
Exactly that, yeah.
A 159, there'll be a portion of the people who own 159s will just see it as a car and it happens to be an Alfa.
Yeah.
And when it wears out, they'll throw it away and get a different car.
Yeah, that's exactly what my one I've just purchased. It's never been on the register. The chap who sold it said it's the only one of that spec in the country. It's not. So I don't know where he got that from. I don't think he knew who he was talking to. But yeah, I know one of my group members, got a family membership, Kieran Winder. He's got a beautiful sport wagon. Be amazing at the shows, but he also owns a beautiful 147 GTA, which is what he brings to the shows. So I think the 159 is still the daily driver. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not the ones. If you've got a 159 and a Spider, you're going to bring the Spider to the shows, aren't you? So,
and it was because I had a Spider that I bought the 159 Sport Wagon. Yeah, because I needed something that I could drive every day.
Yeah. It's a modern classic. Can we call it that? Just yet, it's going to be tough, I think, to keep numbers high in the future of the way cars are not being seen at the minute as the cheap daily driver, but getting people to I don't know how to put it, getting people to realise, this is going to be a classic. It's a great looking car.
It's that trough they get into where the values haven't picked up yet because nobody's thinking about the fact they need to be saved. So you then get a repair bill for 1,100 quid.
Yeah.
Which is half the value of the car, and you suddenly start thinking, well, is it worth it?
That's it. People can't afford that, do they? They can't, in the real world at the minute, unfortunately, people can't. I would and you would, but at the end of the day, some people can't. They're just...
With a Spider or a Brera in that position, you'll often find somebody else who will take it on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even if you're not prepared to, somebody will say that needs saving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas with the saloons, sadly, I've said this quite a few times before. More than once, I was driving along in my 159 Sport Wagon and I looked in the rearview mirror and saw a 159 behind me. And I thought, that's a good looking car. And I thought, I'm in one of those. Yeah. I think it is just...
I had exactly that.
So different to everything else that was around at the time.
Yeah, because I luckily had both 159s over a week when I purchased this one, and my girlfriend did follow me in my red one, and I couldn't stop looking at it in the mirror. I thought, it's a beautiful car. That's an amazing car.
It almost gets frustrating at that point where you think, all this time I've not seen the front of it.
I'm doing everybody else a favour. I'm not.
So that's what you've got to now. So what are the plans? We're just about to start. Event season probably starts in late March, early April. We've got Spring Alpha Day in middle of April. So what are the plans for this year?
All the dates are in the diary for as many shows as we can get to. Luckily, having a sport wagon now, we can put camping gear in the back and stay local if need be. So that shouldn't be a problem now. Determined to get the newsletter finished as soon as I can. I was going to do it over Christmas. It just didn't happen. I'll get that done as soon as I can. And from there, just kind of keep going, get the numbers kind of rolling a bit more, get the interest in the shows a bit more, show that there is a 159 community out there. There is people out there and very knowledgeable people as well. Some of the people on Facebook and the forums know everything about 159s. So if you've ever got a problem, just hit the forums first because you definitely get a club member. After that, not hit the Facebook group if that's your thing.
Yeah, well, unless it's a roof issue, I tend to go the 159 forums before I go to the Spider forums.
Yeah,
because the mechanicals are all the same.
Yeah, and they're pretty.
And there's just such a bigger audience.
Yes, that's it. And they're pretty. Being a kind of mechanic myself, they're pretty straightforward. There's nothing really that too much difficult a job. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've just been looking at the steering rack on my current car. I'm not too sure if it's leaking or not yet, but it's not that big a job. I think I'll be able to do it. I've got the right bits and bobs. I know not everybody has, but they're pretty good cars. They're solid cars. But it's
the same things that go wrong, isn't it?
That's it. And
it's subframes, it's rear springs.
Subframes. Subframes and sills.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the plan. Try and get more. Must be more members out there who's got a 159 who I don't know who isn't that are on the register. So yeah, get that built up a bit. Get a community. Get show days. Maybe I was thinking about doing a track day with the Breras, Spiders, that kind of thing at Cudborough during the year.
Sounds
like
good
a
to me.
939 track day. Things like that, really. Trying to get people interested a bit more and a bit more.
And I guess with your background and talking about what happens when you suddenly get that £1,200 or £1,500 repair bill. I guess at this stage of its life cycle, anything that can turn that £1,200 bill into a £600 or £700 bill by doing it smarter, being able to source parts,
absolutely.
Outside the not that there are any left in the dealer network, but
they're at that age now where it's almost prevention at the moment, where if you get your subframes wax oiled or whatever and protected and make sure they're all right, if you sort it now and your sills, your rear sills, just give them a check and get them sorted. It's better to spend a little bit now getting them right than letting them rot away, and that's when the big bills come in. Yeah.
Obviously, you just bought another 159, but anything else in the kind of Alfa historic catalogue, and by historic, I mean from 1910 to today. Anything else that you'd quite like to have sat next to the 159?
Anything and everything. Anything and everything with an Alfa budget. I was looking at a picture of a 156 from front on in the Rosso Red today, and I thought it was a GTA. It's that beautiful from the car. I think a 4C for me. I think a nice red. Nothing. I don't think the girlfriend would approve with the boxer dog. We'd have to sacrifice one of the two or both. But I've seen a lot of things carried in 4Cs that really shouldn't have been. I know we did a feature on a Paralympic cyclist who it was his only car, and he used to take a road bike and 2 track bikes on a Seasucker mount on the back of his 4C along to Manchester Velodrome. But I don't think you could do that with a dog. She wouldn't sit there for very long. She's not the bravest, bless her. No, but I think a little 4C, just as a weekend runabout.
You'd got your previous 159 to a pretty high standard. You said there was some issues with the new one. So what are the plans for the car? What's the and you can. We'll do a cut down version of this that your girlfriend doesn't get to hear.
No, she knows. She knows. That's not a problem. I want it to be almost as stock as possible on this one. The one I had, the Lusso that I just recently sold, I did put the TI wheels and the TI side skirts on it and lowered it a little bit and just tarted it up a little bit, bless her. And she was a lovely car. But this one, I think it's going to be kind of an OEM. Just get it really high standard.
And they're not the greatest load luggers in the world, but if that's part of why you bought it, then lowering it kind of defeats the object
it's not
a bit.
Going in low. We have booked a camping trip to Caen in France during the summer, so it'll be its first leg stretch over there and my first driving in a foreign land. So we'll see how we get on. Yeah,
it's late at night and early in the morning that catch you out when you suddenly find yourself driving on the wrong side of the road. 2 minutes into the journey, and you think, no,
those lights.
So when there's traffic around, it's not a problem. It's when you go out onto the roads and there's nobody else around, and it takes somebody else to remind you.
I'm sure the girlfriend will remind me. I'm sure she'll give me an elbow. So yes, to get it as stock as I can, really, to get it up to a good level. It's not been the most well looked after car. It's got little knocks here, little bits and bobs there, and it just needs a little bit of tidying up and a little bit of love and tenderness here and there, shall we say? And
exactly the sort of thing that we talked about that people need to do with saloons.
I've checked the sills, I've checked the subframe, I've been underneath it and done all the bits and bobs. So it's going into the paint shop this week just to have a few bits they've had a cheap paint job on it. They must have had water in the paint and it's started to come through. So get it tidied up a little bit, and then she'll be at the shows. Oh yeah, hopefully. Touch wood.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it too original, do you? Because the original factory lack appeal is probably not.
Luckily, touch wood. Yeah, it's not suffering from that. Thank you. Yeah, it is in white. This one. It's not a red one. This one. It's my first venture away from the red. So
I've got 2 on the drive at the moment. So I've got my Spider and I've got a Press Fleet Tonale. Yeah. It's the first time I've had 2 blue Alfas on the drive at the same time, which is confused the neighbours a bit.
They should be red.
Yeah, they should. You talked about the newsletter.
Yes.
One of the reasons we had the workshops back in December was because of the new website and the new functionality that registrars now have there. So how have you been finding the new website to use?
To be honest, I've not had a problem. I put my red one on and then put the white one on and then took the red one off. It's been brilliant. To be honest, I'm regularly logging in to check what discounts I get for obvious alphabets that I'm needing to get for the sport wagon. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's a great improvement because I didn't think there was a lot wrong with the old one. But yeah, it's a nice.
And when the newsletter comes along, will the content from that find its way onto the 159 register pages on the website as well?
Yeah, that is again on my agenda to keep on top of. It's one of them things you kind of get into a daily routine of your life, and then you think, oh, hang on, I should have photographed that before I did it, or I should have done this before I swapped it over. So
yeah, and again, I think David Faithful's got a fantastic model of what you can do, and I think if we could all do 10% of what David does with the Mito register,
absolutely.
We'd probably have a nervous breakdown. 5%, 5% would be fine.
Does he work 10 hours a day like I do?
Yeah, on the Mito register, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it's definitely 2023. We'll be hitting it this year and getting those 159s back to the front of the show, or at least near the front of the show. Brilliant.
But it's been an absolute pleasure, Jim. I look forward to seeing the 159 lineups from Duxford onwards. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're there at Duxford. Yeah. Come and say hello. Mine will be the white one with the flag sticking out the wheel. So come and say hello. There'll be me and the girlfriend there, oohing and ahhing over the 159s, handing stickers out. Brilliant. Great to talk to you. All right, guy. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, that's all we have time for this week. As usual, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time on February the 26th. And to celebrate our 75th episode, we're recording the 3rd edition of No Such Thing as a Brera Quadrifoglio. If you have any humorous or obscure, or even better, humorous and obscure facts from the world of Alfa Romeo, and you'd like us to talk about them on the show, email me at editor@aroc-uk.com before next Wednesday, that's the 15th. Episode 75 will be available to download from 1:30 p.m. from Apple Podcasts, Podbean, the club's website, YouTube, and, well, wherever you got this one. Until then, stay safe.